Hey, this is Chris at Art Secret Studio, and I received a question from a subscriber on our website, Sherry, and she had some great questions. And I know for me to make the videos, sometimes it takes too long for it to get around. And I thought it would be great just to answer the question and see if I could do that and maybe interject some pictures to go with it. Sherry continues and she says, as well as the ones about transparency in oil paint, I really appreciate your content as it's exactly what I am looking for and was unable to find until now. I've since looked at my oil colors and brand and found a few issues I was hoping you could cover or discuss with me. From my understanding, people tone a canvas, then use black and white to block in and do a grisaille. But the black and white are usually opaque and thus block the light from hitting those areas. Now, and she goes on a few more things, but let's just unpack that one for a second right there. Grisaille paintings are where you're doing a gray painting, very common with early Italian Renaissance and Renaissance paintings like Raphael. They would do these black and white paintings as if it was done in charcoal, but it was done with paint. What it does is it establishes your value, your light and darkness on the fold, making it look realistic, making each fold look realistic, as well as the overall value of the painting. Again, the word caveat is being used here. Keep in mind, before Monet, a high percentage of the paintings, if not almost all, are what are called tonal paintings. So a tonal painting is when the painting is about shape or contrast, but not really color. And it doesn't mean they're void of colors, because people talk about Raphael's beautiful color schemes. A tonal painting means basically you're relying on black and white highlights to lead you through the room to tell you where to look. When you want the painting to be a tonal painting about contrast, quite often, I wash the entire painting with a value, toning the canvas, dark enough to destroy my color on purpose. So a Grisaille painting is destroying the beauty that you could have. You can still have a beautiful color, a painting about color with a Grisaille. It'll just never be as beautiful as if you would have used just transparent colors, like in the 1870s with the pre-Raphaelites, with William Morris Hunt and different artists. And I'll put them up where they just used one transparent color after another. So what happens is, without this getting too confusing, what happens is on a white canvas, when you take a color like alizarin crimson, a transparent color, the light goes through the alizarin because there's oil holding the pigment together. It's floating in jello of oil. Light goes through the oil, bounces off the surface and comes back, and you see all the red in its glory. If I paint some kind of gray underneath, you're going to see the gray come through the red and you'll have a gray red. So anytime you do a Grisaille painting, you have purposefully lowered the vibrancy and made it less beautiful. That doesn't make Grisaille painting bad. It just means when you do a gray painting, Grisaille, French word, when you do a gray painting, you have deliberately said, this is about contrast and not beautiful color. So keep that in mind. Grisaille is lowering the vibrancy of a painting. Now, why do people use Grisaille paintings? What's the point of them? Well, guess what? I do a lot of Grisaille paintings, even paintings about beautiful color. But the reason I do it is I do it as a study to work up my values and compositions. So I might do a 6x9 study that I play with and do because it helps me get my values right. So when I paint it with the color, I know how dark that alizarin has to be. So to do it as a study is different than to do a formal painting on top. You are destroying the color. But if you don't want it about the color, you're not destroying it. You're enhancing the mood because you've made sure you got rid of most of the color. There are opaque colors that do cover the gray, the cadmiums and things like that, but even they will drop a notch. So keep in mind, when using Grisaille, there is no solution. You have lowered the intensity.